Hey guys, Ch.4 again on next episode of Dueling like a General. Alright, today we're going to be talking about deck building. I'm going to be covering there are a lot of different Dark World builds you can do. The thing is, this archetype, Dark World, is really fun because you can do a lot of successful different builds with it. You can go turbo, you can go anti-meta, you can go skill drain builds, you can go even like Ceruli builds or gold and silver builds. Like there's a lot of stuff you can do with Dark World, and today in this video we're gonna be covering a couple of decks you can try out with your friends, or try it on your next locals. Alright, first, what does what's the very most important part of the deck is the skeleton of the deck. So the following cards I'm gonna say are cards that just have to be in every Dark World build ever made. Like there's just no exception. And the following, you have to always run. You have to run at least 3 snow. Always. 3 Gates of Dark World, and 3 Brow. Those to me are the 3 most important cards in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! In competitive play, it's also required for you to play 3 Grafa. But if you're playing casually with your friends, you can actually get away with playing at least 2 of these. But at least 2, no more, no less than 2. Grafa is also very important. If you really want to play competitively, then 3, no more nor less. There's no exception. You have to run 3 of every copy of these in your Dark World deck. Aside from that, then it's up to you where you want to take it. Let's say you want to build a Lord's deck, which would be something around gold and silver. In the case of a Lord's deck, I would suggest 2 of each. 2 gold, 2 silver. Some people like to run 3 silver, 3 gold. But in the case of 3 silver, 3 gold, then you have to run a lot of discard outlets, like 3 Dark World Dealings, 3 Drag Down to the Grave, 3 Gates of Dark World, 2 Dark Smogs, 2 Mind Crushes, 3 Trance Archfiends, so that these people can always be played. Because the thing with the Lords is that they're 5-star. So they either require a tribute to be summoned, or the only other way you can get them in the field is by discarding them. So you gotta have a lot of consistent ways to get these guys on the field. If you don't want to rely on discard outlets too much, then you can use something like Beige. Because Beige, if you don't have a discard outlet, you can still summon him normally to then bounce and go for Grafa. Alright, so what's another way we can take Dark Worlds? Well, there's also Tour Guide builds. Now, Tour Guide uses anywhere from 2 to 3. I always recommend you use 3. Michael Balan's build, the one who won the YCS, used 2 only. That's also really good. And when you're playing a Tour Guide build, you want to max out on Brow, obviously, and you want to play a Sangan too. And the Sangan is so you can search for another Brow or search for another Tour Guide and keep the engine going. What is the purpose of a Tour Guide build? The Tour Guide build is actually exceeds. You want to have, with Tour Guide, you want to have access to Levier, you want to have access to Zen Maze, which is a powerful installer on its own. And basically, it's actually the most expensive Dark World build, but it's also one of the most consistent. And it's actually very good. I don't run it personally. I decided to go with a Doom Caliber build, because I'm testing that out myself to see just how good it is. But many Dark World players have not been disappointed with the Tour Guide build. It's a really good build. So I really suggest if you wanna find a very competitive, very consistent Dark World build, you go with something along the lines of a Tour Guide build, which would be using this engine: three Tour Guides, a Sangan, the 3 Brows, and also important like Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial actually goes in most Dark World builds due to you want Grapha in the graveyard as soon as possible. Remember that last video that we talked about the setup, graveyard, Grapha and a Fiend Monster? Well, yeah, Foolish Bird is all about that. The good thing about the Tour Guide build is that you can also get a Fiend Monster fast in the graveyard with Exceeds. You can go Tour Guide into Brow, you go then Leviathan Dragon, discard detach one Tour Guide or detach a Brow to then have a Fiend Monster in the graveyard. You can go Foolish Burial then after and use Grapha. It's really good, and you can get the engine going. Another build the one that I'm using right now is a Doom Caliber build. Now, what's up with the Doom Caliber build? Well, I'm gonna go ahead and explain what's the thing with Doom Caliber. All right, the thing about Doom Caliber is this guy has great synergy with Grapha. Since Grapha being summoned to the field by through the graveyard is not an effect, it's a summon condition, then Doom Caliber doesn't trigger. So you can have Doom Caliber and Grapha on the same field at the same time, and then if your opponent wants to do Maxi, or if your opponent wants to has a Sangan on the field, then Doom Caliber is really good to negate the Sangan and leave it right there, doing nothing. Doom Caliber is honestly a really good card right now in this format. There's a lot of powerful effects that the opponents they're vital to the opponent's strategy. So I mean, disrupting Maxis, disrupting Effect Baiters, disrupting DD Crows. This thing is just balls. And then on top of that, Doom Caliber is great in the mirror match, because when you play Doom Caliber and you go card destruction, and your opponent has Dark World monsters in the hand, the last effects that will activate will be your opponent's Dark World monsters. So your Dark World monsters will go untouched, and your Doom Caliber will trigger to your opponent's monster. So you can actually negate, let's say we discard a Silva, an opponent's Silva with card destruction, and you discard a Grapha. Well, Grapha goes first, he triggers, then the Silva on the opponent's side of the field triggers. And Doom Caliber and I will trigger to the last effect on the chain, which was the Silva. So then the Silva won't summon, won't take 2 cards from your hand, and your Grapha will destroy 1 card on your opponent's side of the field. Really, really nice. That's actually the point about the Doom Caliber build. Some people actually use it in side deck on Dark Worlds. I decided to go all the way and main it, and it's not been that bad. I really like it. It's actually one of the slowest Dark World builds due to Doom Caliber, taking up your normal summon and staying there for a while, but aside from that, it's a really good card. I really love this build. I also combined it with Skill Drain, which is another powerful card. And Skill Drain allows Doom Caliber to just activate with effects like Sangan or Maxi or Effect Baiter, while also Skill Drain disrupting any monsters like Evolcer Lagia, Insector Dragonfly, Wind-Ups, and all that stuff. Also, another perk of Doom Caliber, and especially in my build, is that under Gates of Dark World, he's a 2200,000 monster. So 2200 allows Doom Caliber to be used as Virus Father. I can use him for cards like Deck Devastation Virus, which I use 2 in my deck. Deck Devastation Virus is also a great card to base off your Dark World build on. Usually Virus builds run a lot of monsters that are over 2000 attack under Gates of Dark World, which would be things like Brawn. Let me around here, let me search for him. Brawn under Gates of Dark World is 2,100. Grapha, and the Virus builds also run 3 gold, 3 silver, and it's basically, the point is to abuse the viruses. Usually you will run at least two Deck Devastation and 2 Epidemic or 1 Epidemic virus, depending on the meta on your locals. If it's more monster heavy, then run this. If it's more spell or trap heavy, run this. And you run either 2 in 1 or 2 in 1. But basically, yeah, that's one of the Dark World also is a great deck to abuse the viruses. Another great build, very popular build out there is Ceruli builds. The Ceruli builds. How do you make a Ceruli build? All right. Well, Ceruli build. First of all, you need to concentrate on. You need to assume an attitude that you can't worry about the minuses. Ceruli is actually creates a lot of minuses in the sense that you have to actually commit more cards from your hand to get the full potential of Ceruli. But in terms of Ceruli builds, when you can use cards also like Dark Deal, which won't actually commit so much cards from your hand. And actually can even disrupt your opponent's spells like Heavy Storm and Dark Hole, Allure of Darkness, all that stuff. And then the way you play around with a Ceruli build is you want to max out on the Lords. You want to max out on gold and silver because you want to activate their effects. Or not necessarily max out. You could go either 3 silver and 2 gold, or 3 gold, 2 silver, depending on your preference. If you want to destroy more, or you want to send more cards to the hand, to the bottom of the deck. And then you can, in some ways, you can tech a rainbow. You can take a rainbow and use this like when you really want to do a devastating play. I really don't recommend using 3 Cerulis. Just use 2. And then max out on Dark Deal. It's a really great card. Also, a great card in Ceruli builds is Dark Eruption. Dark Eruption allows to get back your Ceruli to your hand. It's really good. And then the Lords, you will be getting them back to your hand with Rafa. So you're gonna have you do Dark Eruption, you get Ceruli, you bounce back the Lord, get Rafa, and you discard Ceruli again and discard the Lords again, and you go all shenanigans on them once again. What are the best builds right now? Well, the last build who won the 100th YCS was a turbo build. Turbo builds use a lot of draw power, like 3 Dark World Dealings. 3 Dark World Dealings, 3 Upstart Goblin, 3 Gates of Dark World. They use Tour Guide to thin out the deck. They use They can even use like Allure of Darkness. They use a lot of draw power. They use 3 Drag Down. Foolish Burial is also in there. They can even use Morphine Jar. And turbo builds are all about drawing your key cards as fast as possible. Usually Grafa, Snow, and Brow, and Gates. And then just go in there with triple Grafa and bust their asses out. But turbo builds are actually also pretty consistent. Since they have so many discard outlets, you're always going to be discarding Dark World monsters and activating their effects. And they also the fastest one. So right now, turbo builds are arguably one of the best builds right now. Also, another great build is Skill Drain builds. And due to their great synergy with Dark World, if you want to play competitively and right off the bat and win some games, I suggest one of these 2 builds, either Skill Drain build or the Turbo build. And right now I'm using the Doom Caliber build. I'm still testing it out. I honestly hope that the Doom Caliber build comes out to be a really great build, and then it's like I'm on the top builds. But right now, I'm finding that the Doom Caliber build is really slow, and sometimes I have a very bad matchup against Piper Chaos due to them having so many hand traps on their hand, and they just trigger my Doom Calibers with crappy effects that don't need to be triggered by Doom Caliber. And then the effects that I really want to capitalize on are not triggered by the Doom Caliber. So I still need to do some more testing with my build, but for now, you can either go one of these 2 routes that I mentioned, Skill Drain or Turbo, and you will not be disappointed. Well, that's it for now for deck building on Dueling Like a General. Next video we're going to be talking about more about some advanced tips you can do with Dark Worlds in your deck. And that's it for now. See you guys in the next video.